Good morning. I made some of these cool little cushions for Christmas or winter. There's just knit cushions shaped like a tree. I did them on my LK-150 machine on my super messy work surface. My girls, here's Ohana, said they wanted to help, so they helped sew and stuff them. It's been kind of a fun project to do as a family. I'm going to show you how I worked them up. I have a skein of really easy to get a hold of Karen Simply Soft yarn. The machine seems to like it. It's colored dark sage. I think it looks like a pine tree. And so I'm just going to cast on 6 stitches using an E-wrap with a slip stitch here working towards the carriage. And then I'm going to thread it through the carriage and hang the cast on comb and start going. So I have the first row cast on and the row counter set to 0. So I just move my carriage and go 1, 2, 3, 4, which obviously I don't have to count out loud because my row counter is doing it. And then I take my transfer tool and I'm going to increase 1 on either side. And I've found that it's easier when you're seaming up to do 2 over. So I'm going to take those 2 off and put them on my transfer tool. And move them over. I'm doing this one-handed because I'm taping or recording on my phone and I don't have anything to hold it besides my own hands. So I'm moving these 2 out here and grabbing the loop underneath the next loop, and moving it onto this one to increase on the right side. And then I'm going to do the same on this side. And I do this increase every 4th row until I reach 96 rows. It comes out to about 54, I think, stitches at the 96th row. Again, one-handed transfer tool work is not going very well for me, but hopefully you get the point, and you probably already know how to do a increase on your machine. But I did find it easiest to do when you're seaming up the sides at the end if you've done it the second stitch in. So there, I started with 6 stitches, and on my 4th row I now have 8, and I'm just going to do 5. Oops, I dropped a stitch. I'll pick that up and put some more weight on this baby and do 4 more rows and increase again to 96 rows. I've reached my row 96, doing my increases every 4 rows. I have 54 stitches across, I'm calling my base. And now that I'm at row 96, making this tree pillow here, I am going to do 8 rows straight stitch. So okay, I'm calling that my base. So I've got 8 rows straight stitch after 96 rows of increases. I'm moving my weights up because I really would hate to drop the whole thing at this point. And I haven't always had to do this, but after a few rows of the decreases, I've picked up my cast on comb and moved it up here just to keep everything even and solid. So on the decreases, really simple decrease. You pick up the stitch at the end, put it on your transfer tool, move it over one. Now you can do a full fashion decrease if you wanted to and pick up 2 or 3 at the end and move them all over one, but I don't feel like it's necessary for this particular project. This is a really satisfying and forgiving knitting machine project to do for somebody who's just learning like me. You get a finished product out of it, and you get to use as many different techniques as you feel comfortable trying getting a cushion. So I'm changed my row counter to 0 now that I've done 1 decrease, and I'll do 4 rows and decrease every 4 rows till I get back to my 6 stitches that I had cast on in the beginning, and that'll make the back. So I'm back to 6 stitches at 92 rows on the row counter, so I'm going to do a final 4 rows. And then I'll cast off. You can cast off however you want, whatever makes you happy. You could even sew through them. It doesn't really matter because you're going to seam up the sides and the top to make a pillow like this. I've played with different tensions. These plain green ones I'm doing on 4. I've done 4.5 and 5. It makes a very little bit of difference in the size. This one was done on 5. The one behind it was done on 4. I've tried various techniques. This one is not perfect, but like I said, I'm new at this and I'm just trying some things. I tried blending out the white to the green to make it kind of look like snow on top of a tree. I've done, this one was plain green, and I just added 8 extra rows after the initial increase, each every other increase. And so I would increase up here, and then I'd put a safety cord in here that can be pulled out, so I knew where my row was, and I would go 1, 2, 3, and then the white 4, 5 back, and then 6, 7, 8 of the green again, and then I hung it back up where the ripcord was, and continue on 3 more rows to my next increase, and I do 1 or 2 more increases and then do another hung rib to make it look kind of like a tree with snow on the boughs. The plain ones are fun. The kids decorated this one with pom-poms. You could probably do that in a much more refined way that looked kind of neat. I'm going to try a couple of more techniques on my cushions. I'm going to do a tuck stitch to create texture, and I'm going to try and do some Fair Isle sort of twinkly ornaments with a red every other stitch or every 3 stitches in alternating rows that way. I did some little tiny ornaments that I might sew in some light looking decoration on to go with the trees when they go to their homes. I think these ones were increased every 4 rows. No, these ones were every 2 rows, I think, to 22 or 24 rows. This one was every 4 rows to 18, 22 rows, something like that. I'm not really keeping very close track because I'm just doing it for fun and to practice, and want to make something that will be a finished product when it's done, and it's kind of festive. So I hope that helped anybody who's looking to make themselves a tree cushion for Christmas on their LK-150. Feel free to subscribe and like my YouTube channel, Captain Maker Mama, and if you're on Instagram, I'd love to see pictures of your trees, and tag me at Captain Maker Mama on Instagram. I'd love to hear all the feedback you've got and to see all your projects. This is a fun way of getting together at Christmas, even though maybe we don't know each other. Maybe we do. Thanks for watching. Talk to you soon.